Kelly Jo Thompson is joining me now. She is from Hattiesburg and author of a new book called Suck It Up Buttercup. I love that saying. I don't use that nearly enough in my daily life. Kelly, it's great to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us about the book and tell us about yourself. I have not read this yet, to be honest, but it sounds like it's going to be relatable to so many people and truly inspirational about your life.
I think it will be. It just started as a process or how to process what I was going through. But it talks about, it's kind of a memoir, a cautionary tale, if you will. It talks about teen motherhood, single parenthood, grief, poverty, heartbreak, and divorce. Just keep going, when you don't feel like you have anything to still give. Basically is what the book is about.
It sounds uplifting, but there's a positive message in there too. How big's your family? You've got 5 daughters?
I have 5 daughters, yes, and 5 grandchildren.
So tell us about how you were able to raise them as a single mom for so long and what you went through in that part of your life.
Well, I can't tell you how many times I've had people ask me that. How do you do it? And my answer is, if you find somebody else to do it for me, let me know. I really have no choice. It was fun. It was fun, 5 girls in the house. I had my oldest daughter, like I said, when I was 16. She's 30 years old now. And then I have 2 other daughters that are 23 and 21. They just became mothers themselves. And then I still have 2 at home that are 13 and 11. So, but I just worked.
You raised them? You raised them alone? Where were their fathers?
Well, one of their fathers is, he's not in the picture. And the other one, he had a severe stroke in 2019. So he's unable to do a lot.
And that's, I'm sure presents... I'm sure that presented all sorts of challenges in raising them emotionally and financially.
Yes, it did. But I worked. How do you
address those? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I worked 4 jobs at a time, and then I just happened to fall into the insurance industry, and that's when I quit all the other jobs, and I've just been doing insurance ever since.
Do you think that's setting a good role model for your daughters, that kind of work ethic and determination?
I do. I think they see that I show up. I work all the time, but I still show up. I don't give up, and I think they've gotten my work ethic. I believe they do.
How difficult is it to write such a deeply personal story and then share it with the world?
So if you saw my box of journals, you would laugh, but I write all the time. I just write all the time. And about 5 years ago, during COVID, I started an online blog. So a part of the book is a collection of that blog. I kind of started out with growing up and what I had been through up until that point. And then, my blog entries are in there. Well, shortly after that, my best friend was diagnosed with cancer. And from the time she was diagnosed till she passed away 15 months later, I took care of her. I promised her I'd be there every step of the way. And so I went to every doctor's appointment. I went to, everything. I was there with her. And so a lot of it was part of that journey as well. And then just dealing with grief and all. So, but whenever I was going through that, I tried to find some books to help me navigate it. And I really couldn't find anything out there. And so that's when I had decided, and I had talked to Tony about it, and before she passed away, and I told her, I said, I think I'm gonna write a book. And so that's why I ended up doing it.
What do you hope the readers of the book Suck It Up Buttercup will learn? What do you hope they walk away with? Is there a lesson Is it just that you can overcome challenges? Is the positive message
That it
how to
doesn't
approach
it doesn't
your life
matter
and
what
challenges?
yeah, it doesn't matter where you are in life or how old you are. I've had to start over a couple of times in my life. But that's what I hope people will gain from it is, you can heartache and grief, it can exist in the same space as healing. Um, you can still get up and keep going. You can start over. You can pivot in your life. You have that choice, and it's all about mindset. And that's what I hope people take from it. I hope it is an inspiration for others that are going through hard times and thinking, I just can't do it. I can't go anymore. That it can be done.
How do you start over in situations like that? I mean, I'm personally on the job hunt myself and going through, the typical midlife crisis and questioning my future career path. But you gotta suck it up, Buttercup, as you say. It's the title of your book, and figure out what you're going to do and move forward. So how do you go about that process? Is there a method that you found helpful during your journey?
Yes, I focus on that day, whatever I can get accomplished that day, because being overwhelmed by the big picture never gets you anywhere. So I just decide what I can get accomplished that day, and then the next day I move on to the next thing. I journal a lot. I have to do lists, but I just never give up. Never give up. Even on the days that I'm tired and I don't want to, I still just keep going. And
Yeah. So
that's just anybody
sometimes
that
that's an
knows me knows.
accomplishment, just getting out of bed. So
Yes,
sometimes
yes,
it's a
yes.
struggle and it's a win if you can just get out of bed and get your day going. How important have you found, because you've obviously had some challenges in your relationships, if I can put it so bluntly. How do you address that in your personal life, and talk about the importance of knowing your own self-worth and being able to set boundaries in the next relationship.
Well, that's been a process that took me years and years and years to figure out, because forever, I think somewhere along the lines, I lost myself. I was doing for kids and doing for husbands, and I wasn't doing that. I wasn't setting boundaries, and that is important. That is important, knowing your self worth. And it took me a long time to know that myself. But that's throughout the book. That is what I share. Because I want people to realize what their worth is. And it's important to show up not for everybody else, but for yourself.
How open were you about your life? Obviously, you've been journaling a long time. Did your friends know what you were going through at the time, and was it a difficult choice to make this so public, if not?
I didn't put a lot of details, people's names or anything like that. But I was very vulnerable in the book. I was very open and honest. It very raw.
Where's your book available?
It's on Amazon in paperback and hardcover. It's also in Kindle version, and I'm working on narrating an audiobook for Audible.
It's been not too long, just a couple of weeks, I believe, right? Have you gotten
Yes,
any response to it so far? What kind of reaction
I
are you getting
have.
to such a personal story?
I've had numerous people message me on Facebook or text me and call me and tell me that they couldn't put the book down and they cried.
Yeah, it sounds like there may be some emotional moments during the read.
Yeah, I did have one girl call me yesterday and say she was adopted, and she was adopted into three different homes throughout her life, and just seeing what a mother is like to her children, just it really hit home with her. um, because I do talk to my children a lot in that book. Whenever my girls are 12 years old, I buy a journal, a blank journal, and I start writing in it. And I write in it just life lessons and advice for me until they're 17. And then at 17, I give them the book. And it's something that's become a tradition, with me and my girls. And my younger two were already saying, "Have you started my book yet?" They get really excited. So
I think so many people will find your story relatable and inspirational. It's available on Amazon and Kindle. Suck It Up, Buttercup. Kelly Jo Thompson here on Middays with Gerard Gibbert. I'm Scott Sands. Kelly Jo, congratulations. Great to talk with you.
thank you. Thank you. You too.
Always great to support Mississippi authors, too. Kelly Jo Thompson from Hattiesburg. You can find her on social media as well. They're getting rid of the penny finally. I'll tell you the latest developments on that story next year on SuperTalk.